Should you spend your hard-earned money on a PlayStation Vita? The answer is 100% yes. You should buy the PlayStation Vita. Now, depending on what type of games you're into, a lot of the games on the Vita are going to be PS2 ports, and they're also going to be indie games for the system. Don't get me wrong, there are some AAA games for the Vita or exclusive games for the Vita, but 99% of them are remakes and indie games for the system, so that really tells you what type of games are for the system. Now, one cool thing about the Vita is a lot of the games on the Vita are going to be JRPGs, Japanese role-playing games. So if you're heavy into Japanese role-playing games, then you're really going to love the PlayStation Vita. Now, don't look at the Vita as a long-term investment or what games are coming out on the market. Look at it as what games are already on the market, because there's a backlog of good games on the Vita that you should play. They're very, very good. Don't base it on what games are coming out. To be honest, there's not a lot of games coming out for it anymore. There is, but most of the games coming out for the Vita now are going to be JRPGs, Japanese role-playing games, and they're also going to be a lot of indie games. So if you're banking on what games are coming out, then you'll probably be disappointed in a Vita purchase. But overall, it does have games. The question people were asking, does it have games as well? Yes, the Vita has lots of games. Because the sad thing about the Vita is when you walk into a Best Buy, you walk into a Fry's Electronics, you walk into a Target, you walk into a Walmart, you're not going to find a lot of games for it or a lot of things for the Vita. They dedicate a little aisle for the Vita, which is a shame in my opinion, when the Vita deserves more credit, when there's a lot of good games on the market for it. Where you're going to find Vita games, you're going to have to go to like GameStop, you're going to have to go to like flea markets, things like that, Amazon, eBay, things like that to find games. But in reality, there is a lot of games for the Vita. Of course, not as much as the 3DS, to be honest. But there are games for the Vita, and that's really sad when like your parent or your grandparent goes to go buy you a Vita and they don't see any games for it. They'll think that it's a bad system and not buy it for you or whatnot, when the Vita has a really bad rep. But to be honest, it's kind of Sony's fault the Vita failed, or it is failing, and isn't really big, because they didn't really promote this system or anything like that. They did do some commercials back in the day, but they really didn't promote it, which is a shame. I don't know why Sony made a handheld Vita, which is the successor of the PSP. I don't know why they made the Vita and didn't want to promote their own system, which I find it kind of silly when the system is a very good system. Now, the reason for the Vita, or the main reason Sony made the Vita, was to have console quality graphics in your pocket. Now, does that deliver? To some extent, it does deliver on the console quality graphics in your pocket. Are they true PS3, Xbox 360 graphics in your pocket? No, not really. But overall, they are better graphics than the 3DS. But to be honest, what do people really play nowadays? Most people either play mobile games or 3DS games, to be honest, because the 3DS has games that are more tailored to the mobile audience, because Mario, Kirby, Zelda, things like that really sell people, because most people are playing these mobile games, and those franchises feel like mobile games on the go, just on a dedicated handheld. That's the thing Sony really went wrong with the Vita. They didn't really try to make any mobile type games that were really going to sell people that are already playing mobile type games on their cell phone or tablet. They tried to make these big, robust AAA games, which really didn't work on the Vita, because people don't really want to sit down with a handheld and really get a full console experience, like all the cutscenes, the graphics, a big experience in your hand. Most people just don't got the time and just don't want to sit down and take the effort to do that, which is really a shame. Overall, it is a great system. Now, if you were wondering which one to buy, the PS Vita 1000 or the PS Vita 2000, I would say it depends on what kind of person you are. If you're a person that's not going to be on the go a lot, then I would highly recommend the 1000. Although it's more chunkier, it does have a proprietary charging cable. It also has a smaller battery. I would highly recommend getting that one, because it's only like 140 used, which you can't buy that one new anyway. It's 140, and the one thing about it is it has better graphics. The screen has the same resolution as the 2000. It's just the 1000 has a better screen OLED, and it's going to show colors more vivid. Some people think it's actually more saturated, but overall it is going to give you a much better gaming experience in terms of the screen. Now the 2000 is basically for people who are on the go a lot because it's more thinner. It has a bigger battery. It also has a micro USB port, so you can use your cell phone or your tablet's charger. You can use things like that on the Vita 2000. So overall, it's whether you want to be portable or you want to be at home a lot, then those are your two options. Now, is the Vita better than the 3DS? I would honestly have to say no, because most people play mobile games and a lot of their franchises are tailored to mobile game players that play a lot of cell phone, tablet games. The 3DS has a bigger catalog, and they're still making games for it to this day. If you look at the 2015 to 2016 launch titles for 3DS, they're still bringing out AAA games for the 3DS. Obviously, the 3DS is going to be a better value for your money. They also make a couple different models of the 2DS, which is really nice for people that don't have a lot of money. You can buy the 2DS and still play 3DS games. You can buy the original 3DS if you can still find it, which is going to be around $160, $170. And they also have the 3DS XL and the new 3DS XL. So there's a lot of different 3DS consoles on the market to get you in the 3DS. So it is going to be a better value overall. One thing I did discover about the PlayStation Vita is the PlayStation Vita actually has games that are cheaper than the 3DS. If you look at the 3DS games, most of them are selling for $30 or $40, which are going to be the AAA games. Now, if you look at the Vita AAA games, or just Vita games in general, most of them range around $10, $15, $20, $23, $24, so you can get games cheaper on the Vita, even for those AAA experiences, unlike 3DS where most of the AAA games are going for like $30 and $40. So the games do cost a little bit more on the 3DS. But overall, I would definitely spend your money on the 3DS if you're looking to pick one up. The 3DS is going to be a better vibe. But overall, I would say the Vita is a very good system on its own. It's really a shame Sony did not promote it. That stores like Best Buy, Walmart, Target really didn't put a big display case for the Vita. They really put it on its own section, really small, and they didn't put a lot of games out for it. Because I was at a Target a couple of days ago, and they only had 4 games out on display. What is that for the Vita? And they didn't have like any Vitas out on display to test or anything like that. That's really a shame for the Vita, which is why one reason it's not doing well, or didn't do well when it was out. That kind of does suck for the Vita, but overall I would highly recommend getting a Vita. So peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out.